This is why spiritual teachers throughout all the centuries have made such a big deal out of desirelessness. They've every tradition have said, look, folks, your problem is you desire too many things. But there's a problem with that teaching, because what happens is people go around trying to get rid of their desires, which is just a new desire. It's a desire not to have any desires so that I will eventually get what I desire. You see, it's a totally cyclic thing, right? I'm desiring not to have any desires because then I'll get what I desire. You know, it makes no sense, but that's how the teaching gets understood. There's something else though that this is what's happening here in these kind of teachings is the cart is being put before the ox. Desirelessness is a byproduct of total awakening. You don't get to awakening by being desireless. It doesn't work that. There's no necessity of getting rid of desires. It's of no strategic advantage to get rid of desires. It's just a fact that desirelessness is a byproduct. When you dip into the absolute, even if you dip in for a moment, you come out, if you've dipped into the absolute, if you've dipped into a high state of consciousness, it might breed more desire. It will probably breed more desire for that high state of consciousness. But if you dip into the absolute, it will remove desires. You may come back with some still intact, but less, and less, and less, and less. Because that's the byproduct, is it just removes them. You don't even know how it removes them, that it does remove them. And when we're in that place, when we really don't want anything out of life anymore, and most people would hear that as terribly depressing or not creative or not enlivening and all of that, I can't explain it to people because it's not that. But when we don't want anything, when we're not, Zorba the Greek, trying to squeeze the last little bit of zest out of existence, When it's just like, done, I'm done. It's like being at a movie or something, and you're at this movie, you're watching your whole life, and will you succeed? Will you not succeed? Will you get the beautiful girl, the wonderful guy? Will you attain enlightenment? Will you not? What happens around the next corner of life, And there you are, like sitting in the cinema, imagine watching your life. And very interested in what's going to happen next, like you do in movies, How is this going to conclude? Will I make it? Will I attain nirvana? Will I too be like the Buddha? Right? Will I disappear in a cloud of bliss or whatever? And there you are, and it's very intriguing, isn't it? Yeah, that's the seeker in us. Will this end up with the preferable ending, right? And we think that somehow garden variety freedom or spiritual liberation or realization of truth or the absolute will be somehow linked to what's going on. But when it usually happens? It's as if you're sitting in that theater watching that thing called you, and something just inside says to itself, I'm done. This is of extraordinary little entertainment value. I don't care where it's going anymore. Apparently, it's just going in circles. And you do this totally irrational act. You get up out of the seat and you leave. Nothing's been solved, no conclusion. You didn't wait for the end of the movie of your life. No credits are run. You didn't see if you ended up enlightened or not enlightened, or it's just like something inside you just is done with it. It's just finished. It's no longer interested, and it leaves. I don't mean leaves this life. You don't jump off a bridge or something ridiculous like that. That's when you're very involved in the movie of your life. Right? I mean something just it doesn't matter. And at that moment, something else flashes Something else goes, aha, the absolute, aha. Now that there's nothing tying you into the dream state. No, what ties us into is our emotional bonds. That desire is an emotional connectivity, right? It's like you have an emotional cord from you into something. Mostly we have an emotional cord from us into outcome. Preferable outcome, good outcome, where I want it to go, how the world should be, how all my friends should be, exactly how my lover should act and behave, and outcome. We've even got cords into the past saying, outcome sucks, hated it, shouldn't be that way. So we got all these cords into the past, into a future that doesn't exist, and these emotional, energetic cords into everybody we know. Right? And there's something else, though. It's this deepest spiritual maturity. Something else. That's why I always say that it's an irrational act. Waking up is the ultimate irrational act. There's no reason for it. It's just like something out of nowhere, for no particular reason, just goes, I'm done. I'm done. You take off your little jacket of attachments, throw it on the floor, and it's done. And then there's nothing. There's not this this emotional connection in the form of grasping and pushing away. Now the absolute is awake in you. See? Now it's alive within you. The old consciousness cannot understand life being rich and fulfilling and amazing without this emotional connection everywhere. It can't fathom it. If that's not there, my God, it would just be dull, boring, lifeless, sit in a cave, full lotus, totally detached from the whole world, saying, you know what? Because the ego can't imagine what freedom is. From the perspective of the absolute, all this emotional attachment is just seen for what it is. Suffering, separation, endless dramatic events of no entertainment value with an outcome that's assured, suffering. You know the end of every script, you know? Plug in and it doesn't end well. But there's something else then, you see, in the absence of it. And that's what brings people to something like this. All over the world, it's something that brings people. Of course, I don't actually know what brings people. But it seems maybe underneath what they think brings them is what I'm speaking about.